Welcome to Doctrine and Devotion, the podcast that explores Christian faith and practice from a Reformed Baptist perspective. My name is Joe Thorne. I'm the lead pastor of Redeemer Fellowship in St. Charles, Illinois.
And I'm Jimmy Fowler, executive pastor at Redeemer Fellowship.
It's a good thing we don't have the video on today.
That's a good thing.
We're sitting here in our underwear.
Undershirts.
Yeah, that's underwear.
Undershirts.
But that's underwear.
No.
Yep.
The pants are on.
Yeah, the pants are on.
Yep.
But we're wearing we're just...
Pants are on.
Yeah, but underwear. This is what...
And it's our
my
undershirt.
t-shirt, these were undershirts, which is a kind of underwear.
It's
in our
undershirts.
Underwear. Yep.
Just, but our pants and our shoes are on.
Yes, yeah, we're fully clothed. But it's hot. It's hot in Chicagoland for this time of year.
Oh, my goodness.
We love it. We're not complaining. Well, we're complaining because we're in the office and the heat was on, so it's really hot in here.
It is burning in here.
Boiling hot.
Oh. I came in here earlier and I was like, what is this sauna?
Yeah, you like saunas, though.
I do, but this was like, it's not like, it's not like a proper sauna.
No, there's no chrome and gold and marble.
What is wrong with you?
Usually in your saunas, that's what you like.
First of all, that's not true.
Okay, I wouldn't know.
I know.
I'm just imagining what you would have in your sauna.
You're imagining me in a sauna?
Yeah. Well, imagine what you would have in your sauna was what I said.
This is getting weird.
Yeah, well, I don't know. All I know is I've stayed in like the steam showers. I've used the steam showers that you've had at like the places we've stayed at and like hotels and whatnot. Those are pretty fancy.
They're nice.
Yeah.
I like them. I need them.
Yep. No,
are we doing this?
I'm just saying, like, there was a couple of things I've experienced that I don't personally have, but I would absolutely if I was designing a home. Bidet. When I was in Japan, I was like, this is so dumb. I'm going to try the bidet. Oh my goodness, this is the best thing ever. And that was awesome. And then the steam shower. Yeah, those two things. I would that'd be an addition. That and like a rock wall.
A rock wall?
No, I don't know anything about that, but I would get the other two things.
All right. Okay. I don't know how to answer you in this situation. I don't know.
We had a good Sunday.
Had a great Sunday.
So we're only going to be a couple more weeks in that location.
Yep. Then we're back at the Oak Street building.
Yeah, back in St. Charles. Fresh paint. Oh, and you know what's cool? Google Maps or whatever, they drive through every so often. They said, hey, they emailed our ministry assistant and they said, and her name is Deb. So they emailed Deb and they said, hey, we're going to be coming by and we can do an interior shot of your sanctuary. We're doing that with the churches in town. And it'll be like in November. I'm like, do it.
Yeah.
Then they get to see what it looks like.
Nice.
Pretty exciting.
Nice. That's pretty good. That's exciting.
Free publicity.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness!
Sorry,
are you okay?
I was gonna say, from Big Brother. I'm glad Big Brother's taking care of us.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna. That was weird. They didn't need anything but our credit card numbers. So
I love the fact that you're all against Big Brother and
I'm
all
not
this.
Against anything.
Yeah, you are. You're an anarchist.
Nope.
Like you don't
anarchist.
believe. Yes, you are.
Nope.
Oh, what are you? You're gonna say libertarian?
I'm more libertarian.
Yeah. So anarchist. And
anarcho-capitalist.
Here you are saying, please come on in.
Not into my
house. Take
house.
photos. Yeah, God's house.
Yeah.
Wow.
What are they going to do to him? Nothing.
Here you are, defiling your space, utilizing the world for gain.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually in the Bible. Yeah.
Utilizing
the riches of the world.
Utilizing.
I'm going to do it.
Big tech.
So we had our Sunday morning services, and then we had a members meeting, and we presented the budget. By the way, everybody, if your church should be giving you a budget now if they're going to be voting on it by the end of the year because you need a chance to look at it. Hopefully they're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Our guys got that going on. Got Brian on it, Jimmy on it, all these guys. Kevin. Yeah, man. So I ran through that, gave him a copy of what we're proposing, and then we'll vote on that in November.
Mm-hmm. Goes into effect January 1st.
That's right. Ready to go. Can't wait. Mm-hmm. I keep saying I want to get like a flat screen TV for my office. Every time I make those proposals, everybody says no.
No.
Or they say I have to earn it like by doing extra stuff like working with kids. That's what Brian said.
Yeah, you got to go work with the youth, and then
he said I could borrow the youth one, the kids one, if I would volunteer with the kids. I ain't doing that.
Nah, that doesn't sound like you.
No, don't like it.
That's all right. We'll figure something out for you to get your big screen and your Rolex and your.
I don't wear watches, but I could use. See, here's the thing. I just want like a TV, like a big monitor.
But why?
Because like I could throw up onto that thing like a concert while I'm working. That'd be cool. It was just like up out there playing.
Why?
Good live concert. Because I just put it in a little window on my laptop.
Okay, but then why do you have to have it up there?
Oh, because it would look cool. You need. I like it.
Mm.
Yeah. No, it's not a need. I'll never have one. But
No.
because I'm not. I mean, goodness, if it was in my budget, I wouldn't spend it on that because that wouldn't make much sense. I just like the idea.
You know what I like is that I've been away, so I came in here and seen the table in there, and I was thinking about that last night. No, I don't know. It was like 3 a.m. today. I was like, we need to figure out about the elder space.
Well, that's been the plan for months.
Yep.
I've been talking to one of our guys about it, and so that was just a quick fix. Boom, get it all out here.
I was saying, let's clear out some other stuff. Let's clean it. Let's get some TVs in there.
You know, a little.
Not for concerts.
No, but for UFC fights.
No. No, for our elder
Monitors.
meetings, we
Monitors.
got those monitors. So you can kind of have what you need from the screens up there discussing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, real time.
Ventilation, air purifiers.
Nope.
Whatever you need.
Don't need it.
Whatever you
don't
need.
need those.
Mm-hmm.
Don't need those.
Okay.
Why are you trying to get us
Humidor.
in trouble? You keep asking every year for that.
Yeah.
And every year we tell you no.
Well, that's what's fun is because I know what to expect. You know? That's what I do. Well, listen, we make mistakes as pastors. I made a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
You've made more.
You've made a lot.
You've made more mistakes in less time than I've made.
You've made a
in
lot.
all my many years.
You've got so many.
I bet I can come up with like 11 mistakes you made.
11 mistakes that I've made.
No, we were talking about it, and here we got some common mistakes that pastors make, right? And so there's more. Like, listen, we could have 100. We're gonna not have everything on here. You're gonna be like, why isn't this one on here? Well, that's what the social media is for. Hop on and tell us what mistakes you made or what mistakes you've seen pastors make.
Yep.
But we're just gonna run through some common mistakes that pastors make, and we want to encourage pastors to avoid it.
Now, before we do that, though, are we gonna announce the winners?
I guess.
Well, you don't want to announce the winners yet?
Well, here's the thing. They got something good.
They did.
They're good.
Yeah. They were
PBHB, baby.
That's it. What is that? Particular Baptist Heritage Books?
That's them.
All right. What are they giving away?
We are giving away 2 copies of the first and second London Confessions of Faith. Cloth over board bound, beautiful, gray, super cool. And, okay, Jimmy, I'll take one. You'll take one. John Bradley.
John Bradley
was the winner. You take the other one.
You got the other one.
Yeah, Solomon Mustachio. I can't pronounce.
I can't pronounce it. I'm so sorry.
Solomon
Machu Picchu. No,
I can't pronounce it. Moshepao. Okay, I'm gonna try for real. Mawashipo. I don't know. But listen, I've already contacted these people. Solomon, John, you guys won. Congrats. Thanks so much. We're going to do another giveaway next month, so stay tuned. All right.
So chalk that up to a mistake a pastor makes is not getting the pronunciation before a sermon or before you go on there and, record something.
Yeah.
Because I've made that mistake of not getting, figuring out the pronunciation of a word.
If it's in the Bible, not me. I figured that out.
No, that's what I mean. I've made that mistake.
Oh, I know you would.
I know, and I have.
Yeah, many times.
No, not many times. Once.
No, I've done it too.
And I'm like,
I'm not saying it in my head now. I'm saying it out loud.
Yeah, why didn't I? Where are my notes that have phonetically?
It's hard. All right, so here's some common mistakes that pastors make that Jimmy and I have seen or done ourselves. Number 1. Under communicating with the congregation.
Ooh.
Pastors do this.
Why do they do that? Is it a sense of they don't need to know?
I think sometimes there is secrecy. Some elders, if they have elders, some pastors want to keep things quiet. They don't want to share because they're afraid of the blowback.
I think some of them maybe they think, they don't want to know this.
Sure.
You know what I mean? They don't have time for this. That's what they assigned us.
Yep. Sometimes under communicating happens just because they're not thinking about it.
Yeah.
We've done that.
Yeah,
Early on, we were just like, oh, wow, we should have been communicating this all along. So when we finally do, they're shocked and upset. Mm-hmm. We made this mistake, under communicating with the congregation. And the thing is that there are churches that are, especially in Acts 29, this was common, where it would be elder rule, meaning the congregation votes on nothing. There is no congregational accountability. So the elders just kind of rule. Now, I think that's unbiblical. But if you're doing that, you should at the very least then be extremely communicative and transparent so that they know what's going on, what's coming up, and not be surprised all the time by your sudden changes. But and I've seen some do that. But even if you are congregational, there are still like people. Sometimes they do it for good reasons. It's still not the right thing to do. Sometimes they do it for bad reasons. But under-communicating with the congregation is problematic because it fosters distrust. It's like, like they're going to be like, why aren't you telling me this? Why am I finding out now? Mm-hmm. It makes them suspicious. Then it becomes everything you're doing. Is there some sort of a motive behind this? What are you not telling me? Yeah. There's more constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. Yep. And there might not be anything. Yep. But if you're communicating, you're constantly saying like, hey, listen, here's what we're thinking about. And this is what we learned after we blew it early on with under communicating. We just started telegraphing. Mm-hmm. We would start to say, hey, listen, we're not there yet. But maybe in a year or two, we're going to have to go to 2 services. So we're praying through that now. We're thinking through that, you guys. That's going to mean extra service and sacrifice on all of our parts. So keep that in mind. I mean, that's a simple thing, but it's not going to catch anybody by surprise. And that's like an exciting thing. Yeah, that's a good thing. Let's go with like telegraphing something, that's more difficult. Yeah. Okay. I mean, telegraphing early on. If like, hey guys, looking at the budget, looking at the giving, we're struggling. We are struggling. We have some savings that we're utilizing now, right? But we're gonna, unless something changes by the end of the year, we're gonna fire Jimmy. We're gonna have to figure out which one of the pastors is gonna go. Yeah, for real. And we'll let you guys decide that. Yeah, Bloodsport. That's what I'm going to do. That's how we're going to do it. Or hey, it's going to deplete all the savings, and we're not sure what next year is going to look like. Right. So just listen, man, and people especially if your church is moderately healthy. And we haven't had to do that. No. But no, but if your church is moderately healthy and you're telling them in advance, hey, listen, here's a possible outcome. Got to be ready for this. They're going to appreciate it. Even if it's a bitter pill, they're like, all right, good to know. And hopefully we can fix this. Yep. So even okay, here's one that we have been telegraphing. Mm-hmm. Is look, we're going back to the Oak Street building. Yep. Great. Praise God. Everyone's happy. Yep. But I've also been telegraphing, if we grow, there's different levers that we're going to have to pull, such as kids are going to have to all start off in Journey Kids, from the get-go, or third service. Yeah. Like, there's levers we're going to have to pull. These are not great options for us. They're not great options. But we got to do something. We have some runway before we have to do that. But just so you know, that is still on the table in the future. And we'll get there. I'm really confident we'll get there. I know. So it's like we have to. I have to telegraph that now. Mm-hmm. No one likes the third service. No, but this is how. But some of y'all are going to go. Yep. So some of y'all are going to learn today. Number two. Too eager to promote leaders real fast, real quick. Yeah, they cause some excitement. They show some signs of leadership, or they show some signs of maturity or giftedness, and right away just want to throw them in the position and let them have at it. Why do they do this? Why do they put people in positions of leadership so quickly? Especially when the Bible says, "Hey, don't do that." Yeah, especially because the Bible. I think there is a genuine excitement around the individual, and they want to cultivate that leadership. Because 2, what happens if that person feels? I mean, I don't never heard anyone say this out loud, but what happens if that person feels unvalued and leaves? I've never heard anyone actually say that or articulate it in that way, but I know I've kind of felt that they're not ready for a leadership position, and we don't give it, they're most likely going to go, which I'm sad with, but at the same time, it is what it is. Yeah. Right? But in my flesh, it's like, I love them. I want them to say, maybe we give them a shot and see how it goes. Yeah, I think people are afraid of losing people. I think they're excited sometimes. I know in church planting, I saw a bunch of church plants do this. They appoint people early because they need people. They need help. They don't leadership. Have anybody else. It's just the main guy, or it's just a couple of guys, and so they're so hungry for elders that they'll put people into that process when they don't even have a clue about these guys. Mm-hmm. They don't know if they might have what it takes. They might be qualified, but I don't know yet, and they just push them too early. And I can't tell you how many times that wound up with people leaving the church plant that were elders failing out of being an elder candidate or splitting the church. Like, it goes bad when you promoting. First of all, promoting leaders too early is problematic because it really, in a sense, it says, I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to be patient. I'm taking this in my own hands, which is easy for us to do with churches. It's easy to just sort of like become a control freak and say like, oh, it's my way. When we have some principles that should be guiding us here, and being slow to implement leadership is an important thing. Now, not gridlock slow, but cautious, right? They need to be tested. You need to have a sense of what's going on.
Well, speaking of gridlock slow, sometimes we're afraid to promote leaders.
Yep.
Sometimes people are afraid to promote leaders because maybe there's a bit of insecurity.
For sure.
And jealousy of the giftedness that they see. Or B, man, maybe they'll move on and leave.
Yeah.
You know, right? Like maybe it's something that, because there can only be so far an individual can go in the current church ministry setting.
Right. If they feel like this is a stepping stone,
that's it.
They're going to use it.
They're going to use it to move on to the next one, right?
It was interesting. The pastor that I served under, and the guy that really invested a lot of time in me and gave me lots of opportunities to preach, and he really did care for me. When I came on to plant our first church plant, I was here on Sundays until we launched our services as an associate. And so I would preach, and frankly, the congregation, or at least many people in the congregation, favored my preaching. And that's always fine. Like, some people favor your preaching over mine, or they favor Travell's over yours, or whatever. It never bothered.
Wow, I love that. In that example of us three, one of them is probably true, the other's not. No one favors my preaching over you.
For sure.
It's far more likely that people favor Travell over me. Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
The point, first
for
of all,
making me feel.
All I ever hear is that, hey, it's so kind of you to let those scrubs get up there and preach. They think very highly of me. No, but my point is like that's fine. But like, it never bothered this guy. It was like, and he knew it because he heard it. They would tell him, they would be like, bro.
But they would tell him?
Yes. And he was like, no. And he just, I was always like, wow, look at that. This guy has a lot of issues, but that's not one of them. I think people are afraid to promote leaders because, it does mean change. It might mean more accountability. Well, it generally does mean more accountability. It could disrupt things, right? I mean, and hopefully it'll do so in a good way. We're bringing on elder candidates into our elder team, and those guys are going to have different gifts that are going to be helpful and challenging.
Yep. Yeah, we haven't disclosed that.
Right.
So we won't say it because, next one, sharing confidential or sensitive information too early.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about it. Here's a common mistake that pastors make, you dummies. Sharing confidential or sensitive information when you shouldn't. There's a ton of Bible apps out there to choose from. But for the past few years, our favorite by far is Dwell. They have over a dozen new recordings of the Bible. They've handpicked voices that will engage and inspire you. They have a number of translations to choose from. We favor the ESV, but they also have KJV, NIV, CSB, and many others. Now, you may be familiar with Dwell as that Bible app that reads the scripture to you in various voices that you can choose from. You may know that it allows for a music bed of various styles to accompany the reading. But you can also read along as you listen, and I love this feature. I use Dwell for some of my focused devotional exercises, but I also use it while driving, working in my office, or just chilling on the back porch at night when I'm doing my thing. To get started with Dwell, we want you to go to dwellapp.io/Jofo, or just visit the links in the show notes to get 10% off of a yearly subscription, or 30% off of Dwell for life. 30% off means you save $60 and no more payments. So make sure that you visit dwellapp.io/Jofo and commit to scripture for the rest of this year, or even for the rest of your life.
Mr. Oversharer.
Okay, here's the thing. I am an oversharer, but never broke confidentiality.
You know what? That is a very fair statement.
Yeah, I share too much, and I can be a little. There are some things I don't share.
Oh yeah,
but even about me. But like, for example, I'll go ahead and share. Because I'm an oversharer. I do fight crime at night.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
And your what's your superhero name?
Well, I can't really say because then you would know which one I am.
No,
because
give me one of the powers.
I'm Catwoman.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Well, ever since the whole gender fluidity thing.
No, Joe. No. We're not going down this line.
Because she has like claws, and she has the whip. I like that. I'll be Catwoman.
I'm not joining into this line of thought.
Where would a pastor make the mistake of sharing confidential or sensitive information when they shouldn't? Where would that happen?
Okay, I would think. All right, there's two places, maybe three. One is with their friends.
Yep.
Pastors often have a very small, if they're lucky, they might have a tight-knit group of friends. That's if they're lucky.
Yep.
Oftentimes, pastors are alone.
Yep.
They don't have that. But having a tight-knit group of friends, or two, sometimes on accident, maybe within their Bible study, their community group.
Sure.
Right? Third, this one's a gray area for me, is with their spouse, with their wife.
Yeah, there are some things.
I should not, and I do not share with Michelle.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things I do because one, I trust her. I need to talk through some things. I need to process. But there's a lot of things that she did not sign up for to carry and to bear.
Yeah, it's a lot of burden. That's what I tell the young pastors all the time. Like, listen, man, your wife, it's not her job to carry those burdens. Now, if you need her advice or counsel or whatever, then okay, yeah, go to her with that. Or if she needs to know, like, because it's a need to know thing, then, okay, then let her know. But otherwise, give her a break.
Yeah.
So that can happen.
Is there any other places you're thinking of? Maybe someone's podcast?
That could happen.
Maybe someone's podcast?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe someone's podcast?
I tell you where I think it could happen, and where I know it has happened, is when some pastors have shared too much about people in their church when they didn't need to from the pulpit.
Wow, you're right.
In whether it's church discipline cases or whether it's...
It just blows my mind that would even come up.
But it does. And again, we probably err on the other side more often. Our churches today, they don't want to, they keep everything secret. They don't share when they should be sharing. Sometimes you need to tell people exactly, hey, it wasn't an indiscretion. It was adultery.
It's sin.
Yeah, this was wickedness. This guy did this thing, and here's what he did. It wasn't, he fell in some bizarre abstract way. But sometimes, they wind up abusive pastors, have done this sort of a thing where they're trying to shame people and manipulate people. But I think in general, the sharing confidential or sensitive information is, for most pastors, it's a mistake. There's oh, you know what? I'm literally oversharing confidential information, or I slipped into a gossip thing, or for whatever it is, and then they got to repent and make it right.
Yep.
But that's something. All right. What about teaching Christian myths in your sermon?
You'd be able to speak better on this, not because you do it.
No, I see what you're saying.
No, because you preach more. Yeah, I would love to. Yeah. So I don't think I've ever heard you give a myth.
No, but I've called them out. There are today it's just really easy, and pastors love to pull things from the interwebs, and so they'll listen. And I have, not from the pulpit, but I have passed on information verbally to somebody, be like, "Did you know this happened?" And they're like, "I don't think that happened." I go, "I just read it." And they go, "Would you read it?" And I go, "I did. I read it." And they go, "What was the article on?" And I go, "I don't remember." And they're like, "Yeah. It's probably not real." And then it's not real, right? But I fell for it. So pastors do this a lot. The old ones are like, "Oh man, the Russians drilled a hole to the deepest layers of the earth ever recorded, and all this heat came out that was hotter than the sun, and they put a microphone down there that didn't melt apparently, and they recorded the screams of hell." And they'll share that. Or NASA discovered a day is missing in our calendar, and it's like, no, they didn't. We can check on all these things. These things didn't happen. But yeah, it's a weird mistake. We're preaching, and sometimes we're grasping for something interesting or whatever, and we're not careful. So when there's conspiracy theories or exciting, titillating stories that you share, just do your due diligence. The other day I did my due diligence. Some dummy on the internet, I won't say his name, but it's Greg with 3 G's. This guy was saying how real chili doesn't have beans in it. And I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever. And I was like, chili can have beans. It cannot have beans. It doesn't matter. And how is this
a Christian myth, though?
Oh, it's a myth.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. I was like, this is a myth, and I'm not just gonna blast him. I'm gonna read some history on chili.
That's what you spent your time doing.
So I looked up the history of chili.
Do you want to? You know what? Do you want to know why we're not giving you a TV for your office?
Why?
Because you're gonna spend time watching dumb videos.
Ancient aliens.
No. You're gonna be watching Sasquatch this.
Those aren't dumb.
Bigfoot that.
Anyways, that was research.
Old Nessie here.
So I did this research, and originated in Texas, 1800s.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. No beans. Beans didn't show up in the recipe books till the 1920s. It was made popular like in the late 1800s.
So you were wrong.
Oh yeah. So I had to go on and go like, I was ready to flame you for this stupid comment, but yeah, I looked it up. You're right. I guess original real chili didn't have beans. Okay, whatever. Yeah, so don't do that. Just do a little bit of research, you know?
Okay. Some pastors make the mistake by not apologizing when they are wrong, when they have said something wrong, acted wrong, treated somebody wrong.
Yep. Whether it was accidental or intentional.
Doesn't matter. Wrong is wrong.
And you gotta say, I am sorry for what I did. Will you forgive me?
Yep, my bad. I'm sorry.
But I was really tired that day.
No, but.
No, okay, yeah. Listen, Jimmy, I know that I was really quick-tempered with you, and I shouldn't have done that, you know? I mean, when you do it to me,
No. I want to thank you for that first part.
Oh.
I appreciate hearing that.
Okay.
Because sometimes we do fight.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you.
Yeah.
For acknowledging.
Because it goes both ways.
No. Right now we're talking about you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right now we're focused on you.
Yeah. I'm sorry for what I did.
Thank you.
But are you? I mean,
no. We don't say sorry to get a sorry.
Oh.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a. Yeah. When you're apologizing, it's one way.
Yeah. In this relationship, it is.
Yep. Yeah.
Because you never say it.
It feels like you're fishing for something here, and I want you to model what it means to apologize when you're wrong.
Listen, I've said it before, but I knew a guy who I'd never heard him say I was wrong or I'm sorry ever in his ministry, and I knew him for years and years. Never once.
How do you go and not, even privately, man, I'll never admit this, but I was wrong.
Listen, I know it's hard for a lot of us to say I'm sorry, to confront our error. Like, that can be hard. But it's necessary and it's important. It builds trust with your people. It builds love because you're owning your sin, you're owning your mistake. But yeah, when they don't, I mean, goodness sakes, and it's a common one. It's pride that keeps us from apologizing.
Oh yeah,
it's like we think like, no, man, I don't want to look wrong or weak. You look wronger and weaker for not apologizing.
Yeah,
it's really ironic, really.
Yeah. Catch-22.
Mm-hmm.
When in Rome.
Well. One of the things, this will be good. We can split these up nice. One mistake is neglecting prayer over administration.
Ooh.
So you feel like, and it's not that you would articulate it, but like some pastors are good at administration and they get things done and they organize and they calendar and they schedule and they do all this stuff. And so some of them will feel like there's just not as great of a need to pray because they can get it done. They can just execute. And so, if that's your temptation, just be aware of it, right? I actually have to schedule, not because I'm super administrative, but I have to schedule prayer time for me, like that's just in addition to my normal praying. That helps just to remind me, like, hey, let's have some prayer time, I put it in there because it's easy for it to get boxed out. And so neglecting prayer over administration, like by overemphasizing administration, is a thing that some people fall into. Yeah.
And flip side, like you said, how about neglecting administration over prayer?
I wouldn't know anything about that.
Saying, here, this is the practical.
I'll just pray.
This is the spiritual. God has called me.
Let go and let God.
Let go and let God. Jesus, take the wheel.
Let go of that calendar
and let God handle.
Let go of my responsibilities.
Yeah. No, don't need to, organize. Don't need to set up parameters.
Yep.
Don't need to have a schedule.
Yep.
Don't need to have my boxes or check off my tasks or just whatever the Spirit leads for the day. That's what I'll do.
Because both of these things are problematic in somewhat different ways, but it's the same issue, right? Like God's called you to work hard.
Yeah.
Right? To be organized. The church is supposed to be organized. Yep. And He's called you to pray.
Both are to take priority.
Some people neglect doctrine over the practical, right? That's another mistake. And again, you'll see, that there are pastors that they're just not super particular and excited about the doctrine as much as they are the application of doctrine. And of course, like if you're a doctrine guy, you can't get to the application without the doctrine. But the point is that people will some pastors will so emphasize the practical that they spend little time on developing or clarifying the doctrinal. So they really aren't as safe theologically as they could be. And so it leaves them with a shallower pool to swim in when it comes to application. And that's where things can get really repetitive for your people. But yeah, I think some pastors neglect getting into theology over saying like, oh, listen, I don't need that doctrinal stuff. What I need is people to love Jesus. And it's like, well, you can't do one without the other.
What about neglecting the practical over the doctrinal?
Yep.
Yep. There's still ways of going about things. You know, there is still some value. Listen, I don't want to say major issues with like Andy Stanley, right? Or with Rick Warren, or some of these other guys that kind of focus more on the practical aspect of things,
right,
and neglect the doctrinal. But we are called to organize things. There are some things that are not up against doctrinal. Like they're not against doctrine. They're not against scripture. They're not somehow in violation, right? But they do help, I guess, cultivate what we're trying to do, and that's give glory to God.
Yeah,
and to make Him known.
Yeah, man. The doctrine is supposed to lead to practice. It's supposed to undergird practice.
Yeah.
And whether that is, a direct line of implementation of theology into the life of piety, or whether it's into ministry and, getting things done, doctrine should lead to the practical. It should lead to it. It should encourage it, right? And the practical should find itself always looking back, like am I grounded? Is this good? Or am I becoming a pragmatist? Right?
Yep.
Or because that's when it's untethered. The ends are justified by the means are justified by the end, and that's when you're no longer tethered. And then one last thing that we'll mention this time, and that is that some pastors stop developing their gift or their gifts. Right. So let's say you're gifted at preaching, right? And that's where you're strong. And so years go by and you really don't work on your preaching. You just preach, or maybe your gift is administration and oversight, right? And you just kind of work within your giftedness, but you don't work on it, right? And that's an old saying, like, are you working on your marriage or in your marriage? Are you working on your business or in your business? And you need to be working on it as much as you're working in it, right? You need to be finding out, like, how can I get better? How can I do this in a way that's going to, produce a greater effect? Is there a way for me to bear more fruit that I'm responsible for, right?
Yeah.
Like, whatever it is, I think one thing to do is to say, like, okay, I'm gifted in this area, I'm weak in this area. Don't neglect the area that you're weak in, right? So you want to get better there, but don't just presume that the degree to which you are effective in the area that you're gifted in is enough, and you can just leave it alone. Like, you should leverage that, and I think work on that.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, these are just some of the mistakes we see pastors make, or that we have made. What do you guys think? We would love to hear what you think. What's your biggest goof? Maybe if you guys share some of your biggest goofs, Jimmy will share his biggest goofs too.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you can let us know online.
I'll share too.
On Instagram, Twitter, @DocandDevo, or on Facebook /Doctrine and Devotion. You can head to the website, doctrineanddevotion.com. There you can contact us. You can sign up for the email blast of the store, jofostore.com, and grab some gear. We got that fresh pod every Monday and Thursday. We got blog posts and video content over at the website. And you know what? If you want to support the podcast and get exclusive commercial-free content, you're going to want to subscribe to Doctrine and Devotion All Access.
And you know what, Jimmy?
Go ahead.
If they want to hear about the mistakes that members make, they're going to have All Access, because that's where we're going to talk about the mistakes that members make is in All Access.
Oh. Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right, then. Subscribers get free weekly devotional meditations Monday through Friday, and the Banter of Truth podcast. To sign up, click the link on your podcast player for this episode that says support this podcast, or head on over to doctrineanddevotion.com/all access.
Stop drifting.
Later.